Good morning, and welcome to The Edge for Monday, June 3rd, 2024. I'm Devonne, Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whether you are in St. Kitts and Nevis or other parts of the Caribbean, the United States of America, Canada, the UK, and other parts of the world. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me on today's edition of The Edge. This program is also being carried live on ZIZ TV, as well as our social media platforms, so you can check us out on our YouTube page, that's ZIZ Online, or you can check us out on our Facebook page, ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation. You are listening to The Edge. I am your host, Devonne Cornelius. This is 96.1 FM, and we're going to get right into our conversation for today. Now, on the political scene, Natasha Gray Brooks has been elected the political leader of the People's Action Movement. She is the first woman to lead a political party on the island of St. Kitts, and the second woman to lead a political party in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, joining the Honorable Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge of the Nevis Reformation Party. And I will share with you highlights of a press release shared by the People's Action Movement regarding Natasha Gray Brooks being named political leader. And so she was named leader on the evening of June 2nd, 2024. She is now, and she's the fifth political leader of the party. So the press release says history was made at the caucus of the People's Action Movement on the evening of June 2nd, 2024, when Mrs. Natasha Gray Brooks emerged as the first female political leader. She ran unopposed. She is now the fifth political leader of the party, which will celebrate 60 years next January. She's a lawyer by profession, and she has been active in the party since her membership as a young PAMite, the youth arm of the party. Through the decades, she has held a number of elected positions in the party's executive, including deputy political leader. In a brief comment after the caucus, the political leader-elect indicated that all hands are required to push the party forward. She said, quote, "Let's join the hands and hearts in our march to victory by starting to do the work now," end of quote. The political leader will be supported by the executive arm of the party, led by Sheldon Pemberton as chairman-elect. The other office holders emerging from the elections yesterday are deputy leaders Azad Gomes and Lincoln David Pell, Deputy Chairman Shirley Morgan, Assistant General Secretary Giovanni Fleming, Treasurer Drusilla Carty Richards, and Public Relations Officer Laverne Keynes. The newly elected members of the party will be ratified at the party's convention on Sunday, June 9th, 2024. So congratulations to you, Natasha Gray Brooks, on becoming the political leader of the People's Action Movement and the first woman to hold that position. Women are stepping forward even more to be in representational politics or active politics, and they are no longer just staying behind the scenes. We know that women have been involved in politics from the very beginning, and they are usually the people who you would see organizing different activities and events. They are the people who would most would take a back seat. But I love that they're now coming forward, they're stepping forward, and they're saying, hey, if a man can do it, I can do it too. And that is what they are saying. So congratulations to you, Mrs. Gray Brooks, and I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. And I love to see that women and young people in particular are stepping forward to get involved in politics. Not many people at all would like to be involved in politics. It is at times a very toxic and toxing thing to do. It is very time sensitive in terms of it is very demanding on you, and anybody who steps forward and in such a role, a leadership role, has sacrificed a lot and has a lot to sacrifice going forward in terms of their time and personal time and all of that. And so kudos to you again, Mrs. Brooks, and I wish you the very best. So that is on the political scene. Now last week emerged a statement, last week or the week before, regarding the MSR media lawsuit. I'm pretty sure most of you who are listening to this program are aware of the MSR media lawsuit. If you are aware, so you are aware of the media, the MSR media lawsuit. Some of you may not have all of the details in terms of what exactly transpired, what is the lawsuit about, and some of you perhaps have an in-depth knowledge or understanding of the MSR media lawsuit. Now, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, spoke to that lawsuit during his engagement with members of the media at his roundtable discussion on Friday. And he mentioned the lawsuit, said that he is aware of the lawsuit. Prior to the roundtable discussion, his press secretary sent out a statement to say that the government is aware of the lawsuit, and there are two lawsuits, one filed in the United States of America and the other filed here in the High Court in St. Kitts. On Thursday, the former Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, and the leader of the People's Labour Party, he also spoke to the media, the MSR media lawsuit, following questions that were posed by the media. And he has said that he is not aware of the lawsuit, he's not aware of the allegations in terms of the underselling that is being alleged in the lawsuit. And today, just shortly after 9 a.m., Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Denzil Douglas issued a statement, and the statement was issued from Dr. Douglas and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, dated June 3rd, 2024, with him denying the allegations that have been made against him. And so for the next, let's say, hour, we're going to look at the MSR media lawsuit and I'll try my best to ensure that at the end of the program you have more information, or at least a better understanding of what the lawsuit is about. So MSR Media has filed a lawsuit, or a civil claim, in the United States and in the High Court in St. Kitts. The one filed in the United States is a RICO lawsuit, or a lawsuit in the U.S. Federal Court, against defendants Les Can, CEO of Caribbean Galaxy, McLeod Emmanuel, CEO of the St. Lucia Citizenship Investment Program, Ying Jin, Dr. Denzil Douglas, Dr. Timothy Harris, Mr. Farron Lawrence, and Caribbean Galaxy, and others. And the one filed in the High Court in St. Kitts is a claim for judicial review in the High Court in St. Kitts, seeking an order of mandamus. And mandamus, for those of you who do not know what it means, mandamus is an order or a writ, an order from a court, basically asking an official, or asking the court to properly fulfill their official duties or to correct something. So it's like a statutory order, something like that. That's the understanding that I have here. And it's basically a mandamus, and it's legal language. So the mandamus is an order requiring the Prime Minister, as Minister of National Security, to revoke all citizenships granted to applicants under the Galaxy jail who paid less than the legal price. And so we know, as stated in the lawsuit, the lawsuit alleges that there were citizenships granted to a number of individuals, thousands of individuals at that, and they were granted illegally because, according to the lawsuit, they paid less than the legal price. And it is illegal to engage in such practice, otherwise known as underselling. Now, to take you back a bit, I'm going to share the government press release that was issued by the press secretary, where it says that the government is aware of lawsuits alleging CBI underselling, and the press release also sought to highlight the decisive reforms and swift actions that they have since taken. So on Thursday, May 23rd, 2024, the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, became aware of two civil lawsuits, one filed in the United States and the other in St. Kitts, claiming that there was an underselling practice within the Federation's Citizenship by Investment program between 2021 and 2022. Now, underselling occurs when CBI developers seek to discount the statutory minimum investment sum required to be made by an applicant seeking to apply for citizenship. The Florida lawsuit also claims that underselling practices are currently taking place in another jurisdiction, that is St. Lucia. The Prime Minister has stated publicly on numerous occasions, and most recently in a ministerial statement in the National Assembly on March 26, 2024, that within the first few days of taking office, he became aware of the underselling practices permitted by the Unity Administration. Prime Minister Drew therefore immediately ordered a review of the Federation's CBI, and he made the statement, as I said, on the 26th of March. It went on to say, quote, "On taking office after the 2022 general election, our administration moved expeditiously to close the legislative loopholes that facilitated underselling. Further, I immediately triggered an internal review of our CBI program, from which we are still gathering the facts. Our priorities were to strengthen our CBI laws, introduce good governance structures, communicate openly with our international partners about the issues we inherited, find authentic investors, and once our CBI is stabilized, review the facts to determine if any further action should be taken," end of quote, said the Prime Minister, Dr. Drew. Prime Minister Drew added, quote, "It is evident that our efforts since taking office to enhance the CBI have been commendable. We have acted promptly and decisively in a relatively short time. Our commitment to action continues as the results speak for themselves," end of quote. In further response to the lawsuits, Prime Minister Drew, who also serves as Minister of National Security, Immigration and Citizenship, stated, quote, "I have been adamant since day one in office that the administration which I have the privilege to lead will operate within clear, good governance principles. Within the first 6 months in office, we introduced strong regulations in our CBI and strong good governance laws in the National Assembly, including the Anti-Corruption Act," end of quote. In December 2022, new citizenship by investment regulations were passed into law to specifically prohibit all forms of underselling. In February 2023, St. Kitts and Nevis agreed to 6 CBI reform principles advanced at the historic U.S. Caribbean Roundtable on Citizenship by Investment. In July 2023, further regulations were established to reinforce the procedural and other processes within the CBI, close loopholes, and introduce good governance structures. Most recently, in March of 2024, a new Citizenship by Investment Unit bill was tabled, seeking to modernize, corporatize, and strengthen the CBI program based on input from our international partners. The statement further says that the establishment of a regional minimum investment sum of $200,000 and the banning of the underselling in other CBI states were the key pacts therein. Further, since August 2022, we have been in constant dialogue with our international partners, especially with respect to the unfortunate outcomes from the ill-advised prison project program, added Prime Minister Drew. So that is the statement from the press secretary and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, being aware of the lawsuits filed and highlighted the steps and the actions that they took in response to the underselling. Now, at a PLP press conference on Thursday of last week, members of the media posed questions to Dr. Timothy Harris, who was the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, And the questions were posed because in the lawsuit, it alleges that underselling took place between 2021 and 2022. Dr. Timothy Harris was not just Prime Minister, but he was the minister responsible for the CBI program. And so the media had a duty, of course, to ask questions in terms of him responding to the allegations, because the lawsuit also names him as well. Dr. Timothy Harris said that he is unaware of the underselling practices that allegedly took place between 2021 and 2022. He said, I have no evidence of underselling and I have not been a part of underselling. That is Dr. Timothy Harris at his press conference last Thursday. And again, the questions were asked of him because the lawsuit alleges that the underselling practice took place between 2021 and 2022. He was the Prime Minister during that period. However, he has since said that he does not have any evidence of any underselling that may have taken place, and he was not a part of any underselling of any passports. Now, the lawsuit also mentions Dr. Denzil Douglas, a senior minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs. Dr. Douglas has since issued a statement in response to the allegations, and I'm going to share that with you, and you're going to hear more of that statement coming up in the midday newscast. So Dr. Douglas in his statement says that it has come to my, and I'm quoting the statement here, it has come to my attention that over the past few days, there has been in very wide circulation a document purported to be a civil claim filed by MSR Media SKN Limited, MSR Hotels and Company Limited, MSR Media International, and Philippe Martinez in the United States District Court, Middle District of Florida, Tampa Division, against myself and other parties. There's also a claim for judicial review filed in the High Court of St. Kitts and Nevis against the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis in his capacity as Minister of National Security in the federal government. The civil claim filed against me makes very serious allegations in my personal capacity, as well as in my capacity as Minister of Foreign Affairs in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. I categorically deny the allegations that have been leveled against me, all of which are ridiculously false accusations made by the plaintiffs in the claim. The document is riddled with hearsay. These allegations are baseless, malicious, and are deliberate attacks intending to destroy my reputation, character, and legacy. The statement went on to say that I am proud of the record of achievements of the government that I led from 1995 to 2015 and the work we did to transform the CBA program into one of inclusion. The program, modernized by the government I led, is single-handedly responsible for the socio-economic fortunes of our beautiful country over the last 2 decades. This is an unchallengeable fact. The statement went on to say, should it become necessary, I have every confidence that given the opportunity to put the plaintiffs to proof on these sinister allegations in the court of law, they will prove to be untrue and my name will be vindicated. That is a press release from Senior Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, regarding the claims filed by MSR Media SKN Limited and its associates and Philippe Martinez. It is 11:21. You're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on the program. Let's take this break, and we'll be right back.
Join us every Wednesday for In Focus, a weekly talk show produced by the St. Kitts Nevis Information Service, where we provide exclusives with key persons within the government and discuss pertinent, relevant, and interesting matters that affect us all. Tune in every Wednesday, live on ZIZ Radio and streamed live on Facebook at SKNIS Media and ZIZ Online. In Focus, your government, your business.
Hey, I'm Mary J. Blige.
Alkaline.
Hey, I'm Cat from Third World.
Nicholas Blanker here.
I'm Freddie Jackson.
You already know what it is, Rose.
And this is your boy Ketidan inviting you to our annual St. Kitts Music Festival.
Yep, that's right. From June 27th to June 29th, Mary J. Blige, Alkaline, Third World, the Nicholas Branker Band, Freddie Jackson, Rick Ross, and Ketidan will be joining Adamo, Akayu Sweet, T-Bone, Itabulous, Easy, Speedy, Pumpa, Nadia Batson, Kerwin Dubois, Mr. Mention, Asa Bantan, Small Axe Band, Michael Tasia.
This madness in the capital, so I feel like I'm running tongue again.
Kabaka Pyramid, Jados, Busy Signal, Tommy Lee Sparta, Capleton, Massacre, Greenhouse Band featuring Mishka, Highlight. Ramon Watson, Tony Rebel, Brianna D, and 450.
Can't stand with the mama, when I check it out, brand new man and next, find my
The 2024 St. Kitts Music Festival at the Warner Park Cricket Stadium, June 27th to June 29th. Big names with bigger vibes. This is where music meets paradise.
Hello and welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm Devonne, Cornelius, your host, and thank you so much for joining me in the program for today. We are going to open the phone lines later on in the program, and you can call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. We are also live on our social media platforms such as ZIZ Online, that's our YouTube channel, and ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, that is our Facebook page. If you're just tuning in, I shared with you earlier that Natasha Gray Brooks has been elected political leader of the People's Action Movement, and she is the first woman in St. Kitts to lead a political party and second in the Federation. And the MSR Media lawsuit, which I believe most of you are aware of, you've either heard about it on another program, you've read it in the news, you've listened to it in the news, or perhaps you've had some sort of conversation with somebody about the MSR Media lawsuit. And I am sharing with you highlights of that lawsuit and sharing more information with you, and also to give a fair report of the developments thus far in terms of the press release from the government of St. Kitts and Nevis saying that they are aware of the lawsuits and the actions that they have since taken. Former Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris saying that he is not aware, or he doesn't have any evidence rather, of any underselling, and Dr. Denzel Douglas denying the allegations which he said are false and malicious against him that are filed in the MSR Media lawsuit. Now, to head to the lawsuit and looking at what it says. Now, it's a very lengthy document, and there's no way that I think anyone could go through this entire document, but I am going to do my best to share with you what I think would be beneficial for you. So the lawsuit in a nutshell alleges that agents in St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia, but we're going to deal with St. Kitts and Nevis because this is where we are. But it alleges that agents, CBI agents, engaged in a scheme to defraud the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and St. Lucia, as well as investors, American investors. And the lawsuit alleges that those agents admitted in recorded conversations illicit and illegal conduct aimed at enriching themselves. Now, the lawsuit also goes on to say that these individuals participated in the underselling of passports, which we've already established is illegal. It says that they participated in the underselling for their own personal benefit, and this lawsuit was filed to basically get to the bottom of it. Now, I am not able to share everything that is shared in the lawsuit because some of it has since been denied or refuted by the people or by the defendants. Let me say that. And so for me to go back to sharing that, it would be me basically sharing the information which they have said is false. But the lawsuit basically says that they engaged in the underselling of CBA passports, and that is illegal. The lawsuit says that they did so for their own personal benefit and to enrich themselves. The lawsuit also went on to say that it sought to manipulate the U.S. banking system. The lawsuit went on to say that the scheme was illegal in St. Kitts and Nevis because under the law, only applicants who purchased CBI shares for at least $175,000 US were eligible to apply for citizenship. It says, however, as was well known to the defendants and other enterprise members, the shares were sold for a fraction of that amount, and the applicants were nevertheless and fraudulently submitted to the CIU. Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with the jail project? We remember the highly controversial jail project that came about in the early parts of 2022, where we, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis, heard that plans are in the works to construct a jail in St. Kitts and Nevis. And the construction of that jail, the cost would not be borne, the cost would not be paid by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, but rather by the developers. And we heard the amount of $5,000 or $5,500 or something to that extent of shares, in terms of CBI shares. The project was very controversial, where people were trying to get an understanding of who is exactly paying for this project, how many people are going to benefit from this project, and what is the need for a CBI project of that, which is a prison project in St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, to go back to that, it mentioned that 5,000 shares, and I'm going to pull it up right now, 5,000 shares were going to be a part of the deal. So again, the prison project, when it first came about, when we first heard about it, it was being said that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis would not have to foot the bill, and the bill will be foot by the investors. Now, to stick up in there and to go to the MSR Media lawsuit, it says that the plaintiffs, and those are the people who filed the lawsuit, have suffered significant and direct harm in the United States from these acts. That harm, which includes the lost value of the MSR entity's 600 citizenship shares, valued at $150 million and millions of dollars on interest on financing the MSR entities incurred because they were unable to realize their investments, was foreseeable and intended by the enterprise. Now, the lawsuit further alleges, and there are a number of allegations in this lawsuit, and so I am trying to navigate these allegations here, because, as I've said, some of the defendants have since come out and say that the allegations that have been leveled against them are false, and so I will not rehash those allegations. And they have said that those allegations are false, and that would be irresponsible of me, and of course for legal reasons I will not attempt to do so. But again, I still have a duty and a responsibility to bring this information with you, to share as much information as I possibly can, to ensure that you have a better, or somewhat of a better understanding of what the lawsuit is. So each member of the enterprise, and this is from the lawsuit again, it says that each member of the enterprise profited from the sale of CBI shares, known colloquially as golden passports, and the execution of an improper discounting and financing scheme. As a result of the corruption, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis granted an unprecedented number of 5,500 CBI shares, representing as many as 22,000 passports to Chinese company Defendant Caribbean Galaxy to be sold in an international marketplace for such shares. Now, it is alleging that those shares were sold lower than what they were legally mandated. Hence the reason, or hence the term for the underselling. And again, that is illegal. So in a nutshell, this document, and again it's 130 pages, 132 pages, it alleges that they were underselling. It alleges that the plaintiffs, which is Philip Martinez and MSR Media, were misled, and as a result of that, their investments did not come to fruition, and they are filing this lawsuit. This lawsuit has been filed in the High Court of St. Kitts, and it has been filed in the United States of America, specifically in the District Court there in Florida. I've shared with you what the lawsuit is about. I've shared with you the statements from the Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. Denzel Douglas, the comments made by the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Timothy Harris, and the press release from the government of St. Kitts and Nevis saying that they are aware of the allegations that have been made regarding the underselling of CBI passports and the actions that they have since taken for that issue to be addressed. It is 11:36. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to open the phone lines and facilitate your calls. It is very unfortunate that it has come to this. When MSR Media first came to St. Kitts and Nevis, people were excited. They came to make movies, and a number of Nevisians in particular, and the Kittitians benefited from the making of those movies. MSR Media is basically saying that, they were misled because they thought that they were going to come here and invest in the country in terms of the CBA program that will ultimately support tourism in St. Kitts and Nevis. And they're saying that that is not the case. They're saying that they were misled, and the people who were in charge at the time misled them. And as a result of being misled, they lost millions of dollars, or 600 shares or citizenship or something to that extent. And so they're now suing them. They're now suing them, and ultimately, of course, because Dr. Joe is the current Prime Minister, he has been named as the current Prime Minister, and as the Minister of National Security, and as the Minister over the CBI program, and the Minister responsible for citizenship and immigration. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Jeff, you leaving already, boss? You sure you could drive after them drinks?
Yeah, I could handle it, Ain't it too far from here? I'm gonna take my time.
Oh my God, Jeff, you're gone. I told you not to drink and drive.
The problem with drinking and driving is the morning after. Drink responsibly.
This message was brought to you by the St. Kitts Nevis National Council on Drug Abuse Prevention in collaboration with SKNIS.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
To the program, you're listening to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Now, I in reading the lawsuit, I found it to be rather interesting that Philip Martinez and MSR Media are saying that they have been misled. And a question came to my mind. I was trying to figure out, how long did it take for you to realize that you were misled, as you say? Did you just realize that you were being misled? Did you realize right there in the moment, and you're now saying, well, let me go and do something about it? But as I said, the MSR Media came to St. Kitts and Nevis. They, according to Dr. Timothy Harris, were invited here by the Foreign Affairs Minister at that time, and the Premier of Nevis, which was, the Honorable Mark Brantley. They came to Nevis to do a number of movies, and as I said, a number of Nevisians benefited from the making of those movies. I was in one of those movies as an extra, where you just go in the movie and you do absolutely nothing. That's what they call an extra. And so I was in one of those movies. It was being shot at the St. Thomas's Anglican Church, and all I had to do was to put on a robe and stand there, and kind of like lip sync. But anyways, that's besides the point. So they came, and I would say people benefited from their, coming to St. Kitts and Nevis. But it's interesting. It's unfortunate, but it is interesting in the sense that you're saying that you were misled, and you were, as a result of being misled, you were defrauded, and people in St. Kitts and Nevis, or the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and the other jurisdiction, which is St. Lucia, were defrauded. And so you have now decided to file a lawsuit against basically St. Kitts and Nevis, where it lists the National Bank and the CBI program. And these programs, of course, the CBI program, will come under international scrutiny. We know that people in the international community, the EU, have been scrutinizing CBI programs in the region for quite some time. They are of the view that these programs should not even exist, and they want to set certain laws and certain procedures for these programs to operate. When things like these happen, it makes it worse. It makes it worse. Because here you are, when I say you, I'm referring to the Caribbean islands that have the CBA program, but here you are, struggling to, let me say, maintain the transparency and the accountability and the look of the CBI program, but then you have these allegations being made where MSR Media is alleging that people participated in schemes and participated in whatever they call them to enrich themselves or to benefit themselves. And those people have since come out and said that is not true. And so it's just for us now to sit and wait and see what is going to come out of these lawsuits and what the court is going to decide and what the evidence is going to say. It's a very lengthy document, and I encourage you, if you get a chance to read it, to read it. It is being shared all over the internet, and so you ask a friend, somebody's going to send it to you, to sit down and take some time out to read it, to get a better understanding of what this lawsuit is saying. But it's unfortunate. It is really, really, really unfortunate. And, you know, when I was at the press conference on Thursday and even listening after, the former Prime Minister said that he's wondering something to the extent of due diligence being done on Mr. Martinez. And it makes me wonder, what due diligence? Because if I come and I say, I want to start some things here in the country, I want to make some investments, and you told me, okay, cool, if you make these investments, you're going to benefit such, and the people are going to benefit such. You know, it makes me wonder. But I guess what he's saying is at the same time, you still have to check out that person to see if they themselves are legit. So it's interesting, and I will be looking to see what is going to come out of these lawsuits. As I said, there is not much I could say. There is not much I could say or share from the lawsuits because there are a number of allegations that have been made in these lawsuits that I will not repeat because I don't have money to pay a lawyer. So I will not repeat these lawsuits, the allegations, that have been made in the lawsuits. And I know some of you may not be happy that I've taken that stance, but unless you're going to start a GoFundMe page to help me or to help ZIZ pay for sharing certain things in the lawsuits, then I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to share with you what I can, and I'm going to bring the topic for you to give your take. The phone lines are open, and so you can call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Call us and give your view, your opinion on the lawsuits that have been filed by MSR Media. It is 11:44. The phone lines are open, and we are taking your calls at 465-25. We have any callers on the line? No, I don't think we have any callers. We have any callers? Okay, we do. We have some callers coming in. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Devonne.
Good morning.
Yes, I was wondering if, where the misleading part came in. If there were actual written agreements or whatever contracts or whatever you want to call them, that was made to say that, well, if I invested in this, I got that, etc., etc. Or was everything word of mouth? In which case, I can't see that being proven.
Right.
Right. So when it is said it was misled, I thought that was instructive as to who misled who. And in terms of the vetting, though, the due diligence, I think the onus is on our government to make sure that investors check out the bona fides of the bona fides of the investors.
Yes.
Right? You don't just come and take anybody off the street.
As you make that point, right, it appears as if MSR Media, they just came here and there was no vetting. That's what the appearance is.
Right. Well, that's what certainly what it seems like. And if that is the case, then apparently he took us to the cleaners. Well, in the first place, I mean, you realize that OTI was bought ostensibly by that investor. And that investors, as part of whatever, and like I said, there must be some kind of agreement somewhere, because the Premier of Nevis admitted that they paid for the accommodations. That's correct?
Yes.
Right. And substantial amount of money as well. So all of that really should be investigated, because this is a classic case of where things start, that's not where they finish.
But it
brings a very important question. Can't come good evening.
Yeah. It brings a very important question of who is going to investigate them.
Well, who do you think should investigate them?
Well,
the Prime, I think you in the clip there, you said that the Prime Minister said that they became aware of the underselling 2 days after taking office.
Yes.
And then acted immediately.
Yes.
Well, don't you think part of that immediate action
should have been investigation?
Yes.
Okay.
And investigation and prosecution. It never should have gotten to this, because unless underselling was not illegal then. If it was that it was not illegal, then okay. But if it was definitely illegal, then I think the government dropped the ball in terms of moving quickly to deal with the wrongdoers and the wrongdoing and the wrongdoers. And we may not have been here at this point. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right? So there's a lot of everybody's saying it ain't my fault. Nobody want to accept me a culprit. But there's a lot of blame to go around for this, and I hope that in future that we're very careful when it comes to things like these. Don't just.
But you know something? That term due diligence, I've been hearing it for a very long time. When I started working in media 6 years ago, and I think people just use it loosely. Sometimes they say that they're gonna be due diligence, and they just say it because it sounds good.
And it kind of absolves them of whatever consequences happen after.
It's like saying,
that's the impression I'm getting. Due diligence was done because they're not doing the due diligence themselves. They're getting other companies and firms or whoever to do this. And so they're essentially taking them at their word, I would imagine. Okay? So saying that due diligence was done, it's just like saying, well, an EIA was done. You get some firm to do some EIA that support whatever narrative you want, and you cover yourself because an EIA was done. Well, due diligence was done by whatever fancy firm overseas, and that covers you. Well, obviously, it is not enough. Things need to be tightened up insofar as that is concerned, and I hope we'll learn a lesson from this, because, I mean, imagine they're going to bring in our venerable national bank in this. Huh?
Yeah.
You know, this is serious stuff. You don't do things like that, and certainly I hope it's instructive for going forward, because whatever was done obviously didn't preempt this lawsuit, didn't forestall this lawsuit, so it was inadequate, right, or not timely enough. So let's hope that things. I don't know how it's gonna end up, to be quite honest. I wish that they would come to some kind of negotiation so that you don't end up in the American law court justice system already, but you don't want to further ruin our name, our good name. We don't want our good name plastered in the international press insofar as this is concerned.
Right.
And so it would be nice if some kind of settlement and it disappear quietly, but that we take action to make sure it don't happen again.
All right. Thank you, caller, so much. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we have no callers. All right. It's 11:51, and we are taking your calls up until 11:57, so we could break for the midday news. 465-2555 or 718-577-2916 is basically so that they back to being misled. It is saying here in the lawsuit that due to the discounting scheme, MSR entities are unable to sell any citizenships in the United States and elsewhere, or otherwise participate in the Caribbean CBI market because the plaintiffs are unwilling to illegally discount the price and participate in the scheme. So it sounds like they're saying they want us to participate in the scheme, but we ain't gonna do it. It also goes on to say, in the meantime, plaintiffs have accrued interest on loans from American investors who, along with plaintiffs, were misled by defendants into believing that MSR would be investing in a fair and reputable CBI program. Boy, this thing here is very interesting, and I use that word interesting because it is interesting. It is very interesting. It's interesting and unfortunate at that. I will continue to read upon this MSR media lawsuit, but as I mentioned, there are certain things that I cannot say or repeat because some of the defendants have since come out and say that this is false. And so the responsible thing to do is not to mention that. It's like, you tell a lie and somebody come out and say they're telling lies on me, and you go back and you rehash the lie. Let's head back to the phone lines and we take this call. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Cornelius. I'm a concerned citizen of the Federation, and I live in New York City. Which party started the passport by investment business? Which party was in power when it was started?
I think you know the answer to that question, so get to the point.
The point is that I never think that was a good investment. I never see that was a good business, because in America, I can't speak for no other country because I live here most of my life. That could never happen. So a passport is so sacred, you got to go through legal challenges to get a passport in the U.S. by time and qualification. It's a disgrace what happening now in my federation that I was born and raised in, because that program should have never happened. Never happened. Getting citizenship of a country is sacred. And somewhere along the line, it was a bad idea and a very bad decision was made, and now they're paying for the consequence. That's all I have to say.
All right. You have a caller? We do. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. You think you hear anything yet? You think it's amazing? Wait until this go to trial. All things that are being hidden will come out in the light in court. You have street justice and street trials, and you think that you hear anything? Just wait until everything come out in the court of law. The things that you're hiding, everybody's going to get to know. So you may as well tell your people and let your people know what's happening. So that's the way I see it. And sometimes a bad wind never blow. There's always a bright light at the end of every tunnel. So I'm not accusing anybody and pointing their finger at anyone, but this will play out itself and we will see where it takes us. Have a good day.
You too, caller, and thank you for your contribution to the program. You're listening to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Let's take one more call, if we have a caller. No callers? All right. You are listening to The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and we are out of time. It's 11:57, and we're going to have to begin to wrap up the conversation to make way for our midday newscast. I am going to come back with this to continue it, to give more callers an opportunity to call in and to make their contribution, to give their views and their opinion on the matter. But it is one that is a very delicate and sensitive topic, very interesting. It's basically people saying, well, you did this and you did this and you should not have done that and you should not have done that, which is very interesting. It speaks about our CBA program, and it is saying that, well, people profited millions of dollars or billions of dollars from this. Until next time, you guys, stay safe, continue to enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have a wonderful day. Don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. Take your time on the road. And before I go, I want to say to the pedestrians, take all your time on the road, man. Look to see where you're going before, Until next time, stay tuned.